Welcome back to Callahan's Corner here, where we take your submitted questions and answer them live on Facebook. So questions submitted today, or actually last week, was how to handle your billing going into the next season. How do you recommend doing this for best practice? And when you do this as best practice, what kind of payment methodology should be in there? So a couple things we're going to be going over today right off the bat is what I recommend is best practice for setting up your billing for the upcoming season, as far as timing and if a credit card on file should be required. And if it is, how you handle that. In addition, I'm going to hop into Service Autopilot and show you how this all kind of comes down with some quick best practice for workflow and how to run several thousand credit cards if you elect to do it, or one credit card literally in the click of 3 buttons, how to email and how to print literally in minutes. So this is a streamlined workflow that we use in my business, as well as there's probably thousands of businesses using it as well. So first question that most people want to know is, when should I bill my customers? So I need to give credit where credit is due 100%. This is something I did not come up with as far as the timing. This is something that I learned specifically from Jonathan Potoshnik of the Lawn Care Millionaire, co-owner of Service Autopilot. I was blessed enough to hang out with him at a roundtable probably 8 or 9 years ago. And this was an instrumental shift in the way I looked at receivables and billing in my company. And I will tell you right off the bat, once I get into the methodology that we use, that Jonathan recommended, and we've tweaked a little bit for our market, that when you do it, you need to commit to it. And I'll get into the details of that. So comments and questions drop below in the live version here. But basically, what we're going to do is require a credit card on file. Now, we may grandfather people in that have already been there without a credit card. That's what we did at Callahan's. I will tell you, it was more of an issue because we had 2 different types of billing at that point. And once we hit a certain point, everybody had to be on credit cards. But grandfathering your existing client base in is a bit of a risk. But right now, with everybody buying on Amazon and online, I really just don't see it as that big of an issue. And I recommend jumping in head first with it. There's really not a lot of risk. That being said, if you're not going to do that, I would make somebody prepay the year in advance with no discount and credit card only. That would be the easiest transition in. But having people paying by check, people by credit card, Tammy in my office got buried with different workflows, and it was cumbersome. So the idea is, if you follow this methodology, which we ended up doing, we required everybody to be a customer to have a credit card on file. Now, as far as the billing frequency, this is probably the most important part. So even if you are not doing credit card on file, this I highly recommend adopting from day one going into the new season. And what the methodology would be is everything that we serviced last week in our service business, which was a lawn care business, was done. So everything from last week is billed out the following Tuesday. Now, there's definitely some reason to this madness. So everything that was done last week, even if we were done with some rain delays and we had to cut Saturday or Sunday, it gave the consumer enough time to communicate with us if there was an issue with the service. It allowed us to address and fix it. And if for some reason we weren't going to charge them or charge them full price, it gave us enough buffer before we hit their credit card the following Tuesday. So that was the methodology that Jonathan taught us, and we adopted, and it worked. So take it for what it is. Trust me, this was revolutionary in our business. So A, it created predictable systems when things were billed out, and B, it created a predictable cash flow system. And if we were out any money, it was only one service. It wasn't a whole month's worth of service. So by billing that Tuesday, most credit card processors, within 2 to 3 business days, you'll have cash in the bank. So by the time your payroll processed on Friday, if that's the day you did it, which we did, the money was already in the bank from the previous week's work that you're paying the payroll on. So you had cash in advance in the bank for the payroll. So you were basically collecting the money before you absorb the actual labor expense. And that labor expense, can be upwards of 60% of your overall expenses. That's a big nut to crack. And finance that. So plumbers, electricians, everybody else in the service industry outside of lawn care requires payment time to service or right thereafter. We are no different. Anybody in the cleaning industry that's watching this, 99% of them are going to bill that day after the service or the day of the service. The lady that cleans my house, same exact thing. My credit card gets run the following day as she runs it through Service Autopilot. So there is a lot of value to this. So quick recap, if you're just joining us, is we're looking at requiring a credit card on file. Everything we did the previous week, we're billing out the following Tuesday so we can address any service concerns or back up with weather delays. And we've got money in the bank for payroll. So on a very high level, there's several different ways to do this. The way we tackle that credit card on file, if a new client comes in, is we actually send an automated email out. It acclimates them, welcomes to what's expected with the business. And in addition, it has a PCI compliant credit form attached to it where the client puts their information in and it's automatically on the client record. So as we go into Service Autopilot here, I'm going to blow the screen down here just so you can kind of see what we're looking at. Under accounting, this is a test account here I've got, but under invoices, once you have this set up, I don't have anything under open invoices or invoices to print or charge or email, but it's the same methodology here under these filter results in this test account. So as we're going in, whether I've got just a few on the screen or several thousand clients that we're billing out, we can filter down by payment method, status, different other things here. But if these were all our credit card only customers, I can go in and select them, actions, charge cards, and hit charge cards. Now, obviously, I'm not going to hit it because this is a test account. But literally, as soon as I hit this now, all my credit card processing is done. So if you're using QuickBooks and you're physically charging each card, that's a massive time sink. Literally within minutes, I can do this and have money in the bank if I bill it Tuesday for Friday's payroll. Next thing is, if we didn't go strictly to credit card only, we can go in and hit actions in print. Time saver. It loads all these PDFs in here and we can hit print. So we can get out one or several thousand printed emails in minutes. Obviously, you'd have to stuff the envelopes. And then the next thing is, if we go in and we want to email these out, we can also have two different methodologies here. So if people don't want to give you their credit card on file, which is encrypted and tokenized, so you never actually see it. You see the expiration date and the last four digits. The cool thing is here, we've got a pre-templated email that will merge in their link to your payment portal if you use it. And you can, first time in there or every time, you can use their username and password to show that so they can log in and pay that information right there and pay their account online. So you don't have to have the credit card on file, but you can require credit card payment on a weekly basis. Or under insert forms, we can go in and put update credit card here, and this will automatically merge in a box where they can click on the bottom of it. You'd obviously put some verbiage in here, but they can click on that PCI credit card client, the PCI compliant credit card form, and enter make payments in, so that eliminates them having to keep the credit card on file. I recommend the credit card on file, literally 3 clicks running them all. But if you have somebody that says, I don't want to give you my credit card number, you can filter them out and still have them paid by credit card every week in the same exact fashion for cash flow. So comments or questions, drop them if you're watching live. In addition to that, I want to hop in and just show you a couple other things. No matter your CRM, that I'd recommend that you probably definitely want to have in there. So the biggest question and concern is when we're going out to add these credit cards is that somebody in your office could have access to them. So no card on file here, but if we went in and hit add, this is where we can go in and see the information that was on file. And all we see is the last 4 digits and the expiration and the billing information. If we were going to collect the credit card over the phone, we hit add credit card. Once again, this is a PCI compliant form. It never hits the server of Service Autopilot, or if you're looking at another software platform to do this in, make sure that it is PCI compliant. What's going to happen is they enter the information, it's tokenized, so it's safe, and it never hits the server of Service Autopilot or the CRM, and it automatically goes to that credit card processor, such as Clarence there, and that would be the process that you would want to drive through as best practice, in my opinion. So comments or questions, drop below. Quick recap, I would recommend billing on a weekly basis. Everything from the previous week is billed out on a credit card only the following Tuesday. Credit card on file is required. If you're not going to require the credit card on file, give them the ability to pay their card on pay their bill online with a credit card, either through a PCI compliant form merged in through an email or a link to your payment portal. And this will streamline it. And best practice that can be learned from Callahan's is do not goof around making grandfathered in of some people can pay by check, some people can pay by cash, some people can do this, and then everybody knows credit card only. That's going to create a workflow issue in your office and confusion. So we want to standardize it from the beginning. And I will tell you, at least in my experience in the companies I've worked with, you're not going to lose many customers over this, if any. And the ones, if you do lose any, are the ones that aren't paying you on time or not paying at all now. So it will help qualify your customer base and have good cash flow in the bank for when you need to run your payroll. So comments, questions, drop below. Callahan's Corner. You ask the questions. We answer them live on Facebook Live weekly.